Week 12 is here. 3 weeks to go. Playoff picture taking shape. So many trades. Just the most amount of trades possible since I last recorded. Because last Wednesday I made the video and then a bunch of people sent out more trades. And Omar himself had 3 trades today. So a lot of trades. Me and Char yesterday too. I think it's candidly too much for me to go over all of them. But everyone's team looks different except for Sean didn't make any trades. Stern didn't make any trades. I don't think Jack made any trades either. So everyone else got revamped teams, new teams. I'm glad that the trade deadline is set towards the end of the season because honestly this makes everything way more fun. But we'll get into it like we always do. It's always a pleasure. It's always fun. Best part of Wednesday, making these videos for you all. We'll hear from the winner of the week, which Char preemptively sent me the winnings, and then I had to send those to Noto, which was not fun. But it's my fault. I played Ricky P instead of Quentin. Cost me the week winner. Gave it to Noto because of Taysom Hill. We'll hear from the loser of the week, Sky, who always has something to say, and we love to hear it. We always love to hear Sky's opinions. Just made a blockbuster trade today. So let's hear from our loser of the week first. Sky, what went wrong last week?
Hello, gentlemen. I was hoping to never have to make this video, but here we are. We lasted 11 weeks flying under the radar, neither highest score or lowest score, right where we wanted to be, ready for the sneak attack. But then we were stabbed by Sammy. Sammy Morse had one of the most awful trades of all time. For some reason, Char is still scared to admit that he won the trade, even though every single one of us would take his side of the trade before Logan broke the poll. Shout out Logan. But yeah, not much to say. My team has been touched on many times. We drafted well, the number one team in the ESPN draft rankings, to where we are now. Many injuries, many fallen soldiers. Travis Etienne is probably the worst draft pick I've ever made, which sucks. And yeah, but at the end of the day, Sammy's trade really fucked me. Without those 34 points or whatever it was, and instead JT's 7, I win the week. And I'm still in second or third place or whatever the hell it was. So yeah, other than that, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens with this league. It's not a resignation, but it's a thought. Working 12-hour unpaid shifts to come home to the worst imaginable cooked atrocities is not fun, I'm not going to lie. But we'll see. To hopefully greener pastures from here. And Godspeed to everyone except Sammy.
Thank you for those wise words, Sky. You have survived all year being right around the middle, hovering from the second lowest, never the highest, and you finally got yourself on a video. It was great to see your beautiful face. I can concur that Travis Etienne was the worst draft pick of all time, as someone who has him in another league. But you finally brought Drake London home. He was your guy from before the season. You took Etienne, the pick right before him, and he did not fall to you on the back. But you got him. You got your guy. You flipped the trade that I sent you completely to Omar. So everyone's got a new team. Let's hear from our winner of the week for the third time out of 4 weeks. Corn Dog. What's good?
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy reporting in live from work this time, not 12:22. I got some stuff, so I wanted to get this out of the way. And I'm talking a little quiet just so my bosses don't come in and realize that I'm not actually doing work. So yeah, let's get into it. 185 points against Stern. Stern put up a respectable number, but had to just one up Jared or three up Jared. I think I got 3 more points than him. He kind of came out to an astounding lead the first part of Sunday, but so much so that Char actually Venmo'd him the money, and then I got to receive it from Jared, which was a lot better than just receiving it from Char, I will say, because it felt like I was taking Jared's money. But yeah, I'm really pumped to be here again 3 times in the last 5 weeks. I think is nuts. I think my team is poised for a deep playoff run. Just got the boys fired up and ready to go to war. But going down the team, Bo Nix, 30, great waiver wire ad. I feel like I've been sneakily one of the better waiver wire people this year. James Cook, staple of my team. Shout out Jack. A-Chain, Logan, Jamar Chase, Jack, A.J. Brown, Logan. Thank you both for really rounding out my team and making it into what it is today. A little bit of a surprise. Trey McBride on bye, threw in Taysom Hill, figured I'd get 10, 15 points. Figured with that I'd be okay. 41, kind of nuts. Definitely not deserved by any means, but good teams show up, so that's what I did today. 21 from Jackson Smith and Jigba. I think he's going to start going off the last part of the year, and then Darnell Mooney I got 4, but I got some Jameson Williams on the bench. Once Pacheco comes back, I think it's really over, and then Trey McBride will go into the lineup. But yeah, just want to say thank you, everybody. It was a pretty high-scoring week. Felt really good to beat Jared. Feels like the momentum is shifting a little bit in the league, just based off some trades. I'm gonna see if I can fire out some trade deadline blockbusters. Shout out everybody that's been trading with me. But yeah, I'm sure I'll see you in the next.
Thanks, Corn Dog. Yeah, I guess that was a low energy video we got from you this week because you're hiding in your office. But makes sense. 185 to 116. Laid the hammer on Ben, who was not the lowest scorer this week. He actually outscored 3 teams. So his team's looking decent with CMC and T. Higgins back. T. Higgins with 29, CMC with 14. Let's get into the matchups. I guess we'll start with this one. But I'll take a step back. Predictions. I know Sammy, I think, is the only one that really cares about this at this point. 5-0 this week. First time I've done it all season. I think maybe I did it one more time. But nonetheless, I'm excited. 32 and 23 on the year. So that's positive, and we take that for sure. I'll start with the Noto Stern matchup because I just touched on it. Yeah, 185 to 116. Noto edges me out as the top scorer by 3 points on the hands of Jamar's touchdown in the Sunday night game. Taysom Hill with 41 off the waivers, who I actually had and then dropped after I traded for Bowers. So cost myself $16 there, unfortunately. A-Kane looked really good with 20 points. Jamar with 26. James Cook with 19. He gets in the end zone. Bo Nix looking like a great waiver wire pickup. And Noto did shout himself out for being good at the waiver wire this year. And I will concur. He said some really good waiver wire pickups. Baker, who is the QB5. Bo Nix, who's right on Jaden Daniels' tail for Rookie of the Year. And then Taysom Hill this week, and Darnell Mooney was actually a waiver wire pickup too that Omar drafted. So a lot of good waiver pickups from Noto this year that's really bolstered his team after that trade with Jack that we talk about every week because Jack hasn't answered our questions. On Stern's side of it, I think he was just happy to break 100 points. He hasn't done that in a while. I do think his team, candidly, isn't as bad as his record now that CMC and T. Higgins are playing. 2-9 is a tough record to look at for sure, but I think he could play spoiler on a couple people's seasons during the last 3 games of this week. So I didn't even have to text him to set his lineup. He set his lineup before I said anything. So Stern, give yourself a little pat on the back. Good job there. Not enough this last week. Noto, one of the many 7-4 teams, sitting in second place, and Stern sole possession of last place at this point. His season is all but over. Okay, Omar and Log. This was the mid matchup of the week, but incredibly important for both these teams. Both these teams were sitting in 4 and 6. Omar basically now has to win out if he wants to get in the playoffs, which is why I think he made all those moves today. He got rid of some of his Ravens players because he can't afford the Week 14 bye. Log gets a much-needed win off the hands of Jared Goff, basically. Jared Goff and Juwan Jennings, who the league clowned him a little bit, but Log was super high on Juwan Jennings, and it certainly paid off this week. He was the second highest scorer with 25 points. Jared Goff, the waiver wire pickup of 34. Nick Chubb and Kyron disappointed, combining for 13. Garrett Wilson had another disappointing week as the wheels continue to fall off for the Jets. He's got to be happy with CeeDee Lamb getting 18 points. I think he had like 15 targets. Cooper Rush is atrocious, but I mean, he's going to get 12 targets a game. You're going to get 15 points a game. I think that's what you need out of what Log is looking at as his wide receiver 3 at this point. I think he ranks Garrett Wilson and Juwan Jennings as higher than CeeDee, which makes sense in my eyes. Omar, 108 points in a must-win. He had 4 guys score less than 10, which is not what you want to see. He left Austin Eckler on the bench, who had 17 points. Tony Pollard only with 4 points. That's just tragic, especially in a must-win situation. But his trade for Joe Burrow looked like it was the right move last week. Joe Burrow had 29 points. He has only had a QB score more than 20 points before this week, twice this whole season. So that's been his weak spot after drafting C.J. Stroud in like the 5th round, who's been very mid from a fantasy perspective this year. Joe Burrow, 29 points. Bengals lose again. Crazy to say. And then his Texans defense was the second highest score with 17 points, followed by Cortland Sutton with 14. Zay Flowers with 11. Drake London, a little disappointing, but Denver's defense is really, really good. And then Kelsey was Kelsey was his biggest disappointment of the week, only with 2 points. He was projected for 16, only 2 points. You're not going to win that many games with your second-round pick, getting you 2 points while they're plugged in the lineup. But Omar has reloaded. He's revamped. He's got a brand new team. The only 2 people that he drafted that are left on his team are Travis Kelsey and Cortland Sutton. Another anecdote about Omar is although he has only won 4 games this year, he has been the winner of the week 3 times. So he is really the definition of boom or bust. When he wins big. When he loses, it is quite unfortunate. But yes, Log, sitting at 5-6, just outside the playoff picture right now in 7th place. Omar drops to 4 and 7th. He's in 8th place. He's not completely dead yet, but he needs to win out. Me and Sean. So Sean was the 4th highest scorer this week after me, Noto, and Sammy. Unfortunate for Sean. 136 will get you the win on most weeks, but I scored 182 this week. Just wasn't in the cards for him this week. I could have scored more too if I would have started Quentin Johnson and Drake May. I did not do so, but I was obviously led by Saquon, who's awesome on Thursday night. That was sick to watch. And then Scary Terry only hitting 2 on Thursday. That was tough start for Sean. Brock Bowers, I love that guy so much. I'm so happy he's on the team. 31 points. Amon-Ra finally has his breakout game. He's been so solid between 10 and 20 all season, but he had 38 this week, which was unbelievable. Cooper Kupp with 28. He's looking unbelievable too. Justin Jefferson a little disappointing with only 14. He still got stopped on the 1, had a red zone target, didn't get it. And then the Vikings defense has been the defensive one on the year. They've been super solid. Very disappointed by Ricky Pearsall with 0 points. He was the only player I had that scored less than 10 points. And then Bijan only with 10 too. But Falcons offense as a whole looked horrible going up against Denver. So they're going to reset. They'll get back. Bijan will be okay. Sean, 136. Just really solid all across the board. Tyreek finally has more than 10 points with 19. Jordan Love with 20. Kamara with only 12, which is a little disappointing for him. Kenneth Walker with 13. Puka looked great, getting all the targets with 25 points. Him and Cooper Kupp had 25 and 28 respectively. Scary Terry I talked about already, and then Njoku has been looking like an elite tight end with a Jameis-led offense. I get the win. 8-3, sole possession of first place right now. I control my own destiny going forward. If I win out, I get first. Sean, one of the 3 7-4 teams, I want to say, sitting at 3rd place right now because of the point differential. Next matchup, we had Sammy and Jack. Jack actually had a respectable matchup for his standards, 121 points. Pretty solid for him. He doesn't normally break 120, so he's sitting at 4 and 7 in 9th place, but he was led by Joe Mixon on Sunday. The game was over at that point. Joe Mixon with 35. Jack did start 2 people who scored 0 points, so you're not going to win many games when you start 2 people with 0 points, and he wasn't even the loser of the week. So that's a testament to how good Joe Mixon was this last week, and Jerry Jeudy with 26 points too. If they would have stopped doing the Cortland Sutton Jerry Jeudy trade, I can't even remember who started with who. If Omar would have hung on to Jerry Jeudy this week, he would have got the win. But, if pigs could fly. Deontay, I think, is droppable for sure. He's been horrible. Jaceki with the 0 burger. That's something you hate to see. Had him as the fill-in for Laporta this week, who didn't play, and then they got the same amount of points. Brian Robinson was solid. Devontae is so washed on the Jets. Lamar did not look great against Pittsburgh. He never looks good against Pittsburgh. Sammy, who did reload again, so he just traded away George Pickens and Dave Montgomery in favor of Tractor Cito, because I guess Sammy thinks he can afford the loss, but he's not even he's not guaranteed a playoff spot. So it's an interesting strategy. It might pay off for him, it might not. But Justin Herbert looks really, really good. That was an awesome waiver pickup for Sammy. Breece Hall finally looks back to form at 31. JT has looked horrible the past couple weeks. Just has not gotten in the end zone. 8, 14, and 7. Unfortunate. Sky was right. Sky's always right about everything. George Pickens with 16. Debo disappointed again. Dave Montgomery with 25. J.K. Dobbins with 18. So, very good week for Sammy. 150. That will get you a win most weeks. He was the third highest scorer this week, but now he is firmly back in the playoff picture. 5 and 6, sixth place. Jack 4 and 7 and ninth. And then our last matchup was Char and Sky, which they were both 6 and 4, but this was our worst matchup of the week, our lowest combined scoring matchup. 111 to 101. Char somehow just continues to win these low scoring matchups. He was led by Josh Allen, who's the only player he had that scored more than 20 points. He no longer has Josh Allen. He traded him to me for Jaden Daniels and Mike Evans, and also gave me Ladd McConkey. But Jahmyr Gibbs with 19, that's expected. Kareem Hunt, I think the Linsanity run is over. Pacheco is back at practice today, even if he's active. I don't see Kareem Hunt getting all the value that he had anymore. I think that waiver wire pickup has ran its course. Devontae looked bad again, only with 6 points. He's not been good, He's been very boom or bust. He's had 3 weeks where he scored less than 7 points. DK looked solid. He about hit his projections, 14 points. JSN's been unbelievable so far this season. Ingram definitely takes a hit with Mac Jones at the helm. I can attest that you never want to watch Mac Jones play a football game. Jaden Reed with 9 points. He looked like he was primed for a big game, got a touchdown super early, and then just didn't touch the ball for the rest of the game. Chase Brown looks awesome again, 19 points. The Bengals' true running back. That was a great acquisition for Char. Char, who historically does not trade a lot, has traded his way to a very solid team. He's traded his way up to probably having a record that reflects his team. Previously, it did not. But Sky, 101 points. The lowest scorer, which normally we have at least one person not break 100. High scoring week across the league, but Sky was lowest scorer this week. No one scored more than 20. Jalen with 18, Josh Downs with 19, DeAndre Swift with 16, Najee with 13, Goddard with 11, and then no one else scored more than 10 outside of that. So Rico Dowdle's horrible. Etienne's been horrible. Brian Thomas Jr. on the bench. You hate to see that with 13. Jalen Warren with 10 on the bench. And then he did take my advice, traded one of his quarterbacks, which I think makes sense for both those teams doing that trade. But both these teams are still in the playoffs. Char sitting at 7-4, and then Sky at 6-5. We'll see what happens. The playoff race after this week, it's heating up. It's going to be spicy. And that does it for the matchups from this last week. So let me stop the recording real quick. I'll get into the standings, and we'll give you some predictions. Okay, standings. So I was right. There are 3 teams sitting at 7-4. I'll go first to last. First, I'm sitting at first. I have a 1-game lead, but I also have about 140-point difference ahead of the next highest scorer, which is Noto. So I have a little bit of a buffer. I basically got to win 2 games if I win out first place. If I win 2 games, I think I should be okay. But we want to win all of our games. We want to win the matchup each week. The next, we have Noto, Sean, and Char, all 7-4 in that for the point differential. And then we have Sky, who's the only 6-5 team, followed by Sammy and Log, followed by Omar and Jack, and then Stern season's done. It's giving him a 1% chance of making the playoffs. I don't see how anyone gets in at 5-9, but if it's given a 1% chance, it's given a 1% chance. So he's not officially eliminated yet, but it's going to be tough. It's crazy because I'm looking at I sorted by the points for 1, 2, 3. We're all in the right spot. Omar is actually the 4th highest scorer, but he's sitting at 4 and 7 in 8th place, followed by Sammy, followed by Char, and then we have Log. Sky, who is 6-5 now, is 8th in scoring, and then 9th and 10th are correct. Jack and Stern. Stern's the only team who hasn't broken 1,100 points. And that's where we stand from a points against standpoint. I don't understand how Sky has the record that he has because he's low in scoring, and he also has the most points against, but he's above 500. So he truly is an enigma. Char has the least amount of points against, no surprise there, followed by Log, and then Sean getting a little lucky this year for the first time. He has a low points against. And then Sammy, me and Noto actually have the exact same amount of points scored against us. It's differentiated by 0.18 points, which is pretty crazy. Just little fun facts that we like to share with the group. We'll get into the matchups for this week. First matchup, we got Char and Stern. Char's about a 20-point favorite. Right when you think Stern's hitting some momentum, T. Higgins is on bye. You really need T. Higgins. He gets Chuba Hubbard back this week, but Kansas City's defense is very good against the run. He's going with Mahomes. I don't know why he's rostering Caleb Williams still. He gets CMC, who I don't think practiced today, which is definitely just like veteran rest. Aaron Jones has not looked great the past couple weeks. I think the wheels might be starting to come off. Nico Collins had that 70-yard touchdown that came back at the beginning of the week. Christian Watson looked good that last week. He's really hurt at his second flex. He's starting Justice Hill right now. He definitely could find someone better off the waivers than Justice Hill, but I'm happy he's set in his lineup just to begin with. Char, whose team definitely got better this week. He was going to have Josh Allen on bye. He no longer has Josh Allen on his roster. He gets Mike Evans back after his injury. He was out for the last 4 weeks. I traded him to him, so he gets Mike Evans this week as the Bucs definitely wide receiver 1, unequivocally. Kareem Hunt is in right now and is projected for points. I don't know if that's going to stay the same. I don't know if Pacheco is going to come back. DK is obviously very good. Hunter Henry, I shouldn't have given him back to him. Should have just held on to him. Rashad White and Devontae Smith are rounding out his 2 flexes. Devontae will for sure score less points than either DJ Moore or Jaden Reed this week. It'll be something like that. He never plays the right flex. Steelers defense against Cleveland on Thursday night will be interesting. It's supposed to snow, but Jameis loves to sling it. That'll probably end up being a low-scoring game, probably a good matchup for Char. I really want to pick Ben to win some games in the second half of the season, but I struggle seeing how he's going to do that this week with T. Higgins on bye and Justice Hill in the starting lineup. Char's team definitely got better this week, for sure, but I'm going to be writing his name down here because I do think he's going to get the win over Stern. Let me write that down. Okay. Sorry, Ben, but I appreciate you setting your lineup without having to be reminded. Okay, Sammy and Sean. This is a pretty big matchup. 5-6 Sammy, 7-4 Sean. Sean, I'm going to say is squarely in the playoffs. Even if he loses out 7-7, he's going to get in. Sammy's fighting for a spot. These two teams have played previously. In Week 3, Sammy won 149-112. That was back when Puka was hurt. Sean does have Puka back now. Let me refresh the page here because something always goes wrong with this. Okay, so Sammy basically has a brand new team over the past couple weeks. He got rid of George Pickens. He got rid of Jonathan Taylor. He got rid of Dave Montgomery. He got rid of Chase Brown. He acquired JT, acquired Derrick Henry. Marvin Harrison Jr. finds himself in the starting lineup. Breece Hall is on bye this week. Sean is a 2-point underdog here. They're projected for 125 and 123, respectively. But this is a big matchup. Sean, without Alvin Kamara this week, who is definitely his best running back, might be his best player. I think Puka might actually be his best player, but you can make the case for either. Huge matchup. Both these teams look great on paper. I wouldn't want to play either of these teams at this juncture. It's going to be a close one. I'm taking the over for whatever the whole matchup is. I'm taking the over here. But I'm writing Sean down. I think Sammy goes all in on these pieces. He's like, I can handle the Derrick Henry bye. And then he ends up having to sell Derrick Henry so we can get that win in that last week, take him on the low. And Sammy, I'm just letting you know, I'll be here for you when that happens. Okay. Log and Jack. I'll be honest, this is a must-win for both these teams. They did play in Week 4, where Log won by a score of 96-75. So we're probably in for a similar showing between these two teams. Jack needs to win out if he wants to get in. Log cannot mentally handle a loss to Jack at this point. After he did all those trades and everyone was yelling at him for everything, even though candidly, I think Juwan Jennings is going to be a great piece for him. He's probably going to average 15 going forward. Tyrone Tracy's a good piece too. He's getting a lot of hate. Cedric Tillman has found his way to the bench in favor of Nick Chubb, which is interesting. Pittsburgh's defense is very solid. That's a tough one. That's a tough play right there. I don't know which decision I would make. Well, I do. I would play Tillman because I'm playing him in another league, but I get why Log is rolling with the cards that he's rolling with. Kyron has been a little disappointment over the past couple weeks with his lack of touchdown scoring. But Log's obviously hoping he can turn it around, but Philly's defense has been looking pretty good. So, he's about a 8-point favorite going up against Jack this week. Jack is pretty hurt by the buys this week. He's only projected for 115. He's down Devonta. He's still rostering Deontay Johnson for some reason. Keon Coleman's out. He hasn't been playing anyway. But, Jack's team it's tough sledding. Lamar's awesome. Joe Mixon's awesome. Brian Robinson's fine. Calvin Ridley's actually been decent. Jerry Jeudy obviously looked great last week, but would be shocked if that wasn't a flash in the pan. Laporta's been horrible for where he was drafted, even though Jack didn't draft him. He traded for him. And then his two flexes with Romeo Dubes and Wandale Robinson. I mean, come on, man. Like, Dubes has been tough the past few weeks. He obviously had that couple week stretch when he came back after not being active for personal reasons. He had 19-17 and then 10-6 by 2 last week. So low expectations, I think, from his flexes this week. And I think that's what's going to get Jack. I think this is going to be a low scoring game, but I think that Juwan Jennings and Tyrone Tracy are gonna take Log home this week. So I think Log gets the win and essentially ends Jack's season in week 12 here. All right. Noto and Omar. Omar's actually a 7-point favorite. Noto is without 3 of his starters, James Cook, Jamar Chase, and Darnell Mooney. Omar did trade Noto, Austin Eckler. He gave him a lifeline, which I wouldn't have done. I don't like trading with people that I'm playing them that same week. I feel like you gotta separate that. Obviously, Omar feels differently. They did play earlier this year in week 4, which was right after Jack gave Noto a good team, and Noto did win 132-124. So that was the first week. That was Noto's first win of the season. He started 0-3, and then after that week went on that winning streak. But yes, Baker probably going to have a really good game this week against the Giants. Omar gets a quarterback, gets Jalen Hurts. Which, looking back, now that he has Jalen, I don't really know why he did the trade with me last week to get Joe Burrow, because he can't start both of them. I'm certainly not complaining because I have Justin Jefferson now, but I don't really know what he's going to do moving forward. He has the QB2 and the QB3, but he's also starting Michael Pittman. Feels like you should probably trade one of those guys to someone who needs a QB. But that's not my team, so I'm going to not give my comments on that. Actually, I am, because you guys love listening to me give my comments. That's why you watch these videos. What are you doing, buddy? I don't think you thought that one through. But, yes, he made that trade with Sky for Jalen today. I do like it. In general, I think Brian Thomas Jr., if he gets Trevor Lawrence back, obviously can be very good. He's still the wide receiver 11 on the year. He's still rostering Russell Wilson. I don't know why. I'm just really confused looking at his team. In case you can't tell, it's taking me a while to process it. He started Michael Pittman, who's been really bad all year. He's the wide receiver 51 on the season. I'm looking at his stats now. He's had 3 games where he scored more than 10 points, and every other game he has not. Zay Flowers getting the start. DeAndre Swift, who didn't practice today, which honestly it was nice of Sky to trade him his handcuff after that trade. That was a classic, great move, good guy move on Sky's part. Kelsey are hoping for a bounce back week this week. I think in most weeks, the way Noto's been playing, he probably will win this game with Jamar and Cook and Darnell Mooney on bye. Might be a tougher path. I think Omar's going to win here. I think he's going to win. He's going to keep his season alive. And then he's going to make more trades next week and get rid of either Burrow or Jalen Hurts. He's just going to do it live each week. Okay, last matchup is me and Sky. When the week started, I was a 35-point favorite. Now I'm a 22-point favorite. I made some trades. I got rid of Jaden Daniels, who's projected for a lot more than Drake May. I'm flipping back and forth between Drake May and Tua this week. Obviously, Sky gets rid of Jalen, which is something I like to see. I didn't want to play Jalen this week. He acquires Cade Otton. He acquires Drake London, who's on bye this week. He acquires Tony Pollard, who has not been very good as of late, but obviously Sky's hoping he can turn it around. And candidly, he's better than his current running backs that he has. I don't know who he was going to start. He's still starting Rico Dowdle, actually. That's a great move, Sky. Rico Dowdle getting the start. Jacoby Myers getting the start. So Sky's got one player projected for 19, and then no one else projected for higher than 15. He's projected for 108 points, which might be the lowest. It is, unfortunately, the lowest projected total for this year. And I am projected for 131 right now. I could be projected for 133 if I plug 2 in. So projections don't have this being close. Sky has said it's not going to be close. I think crazier things have happened. Sky and I have played each other already this season in week 3, which was the week I traded for Kyron, and he had 30 on him. And Sky was very upset about that as well. Wouldn't have mattered. I would have won either way all the way back in week 3 when Sky had a healthy team. I'm just gonna write my name down, and we're gonna move on with our lives. Because if I lose this game, I'll be upset. It'll open the door for Noto to come back, acquire that coveted first place. But yes, I think Sky made that trade, assuming this week was a wash because he just wanted Drake London to get on his team. That's why Omar made the trade too. I think that about wraps us for the week. Yeah, that wraps us. Thursday night game, Steelers-Browns. Going to be a fun one. Going to be snowy. As always, thank you for watching. I appreciate you all, and I appreciate how much we trade in this league. This really is very fun seeing all the trades fly through. If you think of any more trades, I'm always down to talk. Thanks for watching.